Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, YouTubers. This is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon. ArcDate 2015-2-16. An update on just some flat Earth information. I want to say that, as I've said before, it's a very complicated issue. So for new people or someone who's just heard it for the first time or someone who said, hey, I believe in the flat Earth, realize that it is an extremely complex issue in a sense, covers a myriad of topics, branches of science, branches of mathematics. I have a pretty good grasp on most of those. I don't have the software to do modeling and stuff, but it can be reduced to the fact that if what science has told us is true, and that the Earth is a sphere, a ball, then there must exist curvature to establish that. I have interacted with upwards of 50 people on different groups or comment sections on YouTube's, scientists, physicists supposedly, people who have a good understanding of science, and yet, to date, I have found no one who will deal with the formula for curvature. There's a video out there of a physicist who, he's a tenured physicist, a teacher at a university. I don't remember what university, but he gives the formula for curvature as 8 inches per mile. Well, 8 inches per mile squared. 8 inches per mile is okay if you're living on a pyramid. It defines a slope. But it's a sphere, and for every mile you square the miles times 8 inches. And then if you want to get your answer in feet, which is normally what you'd be dealing with, then you divide it by 12. Well, 8 divided by 12 is 0.666. Interesting. And I've said before that the tilt of the Earth, okay? The tilt of the Earth is 23.4. Well, subtract that from the horizontal, and it's 66.6 degrees tilt from the horizontal, not from the vertical, which is what the 23.4 is. Interesting. Another factor is that the Earth is revolving around the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, 666. So I think somebody had a lot of fun coming up with that configuration. Okay, so if the Earth is a sphere, there must exist curvature. That is provable and true, because if it doesn't exist over 10 miles, it doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist over 100 miles, it doesn't exist. It's not a tetrahedron. It's not a polyhedron where you have a flat area and then it suddenly angles. The Suez Canal is 100 miles long. It's flat. The Great Canal in China is I think there's a stretch that's 700 miles. It's flat. Water seeks its own level. The idea of water curving is it's bad physics. It's really bad physics. Think about it. Okay. You can take and these guys will say, "Why don't you go out and get a telescope and see for yourself?" None of them do. Not one of those people who I have contended with has gone out and bought a telescope or a televideo camera and done any research of their own. Those that do come to believe that the Earth is flat. Okay. I've listed videos. Unbelievable Horizons, look that up. There is a shot of a mountain at 170 miles away. There would be well over 2 miles of curvature there that it does not exist. It's flat. Ship out to 50 miles. Links for that, the big red ship. You can look at that, the red ship. They have seen that ship out to 50 miles going out of harbor in Holland, I think it is. So the researchers coming in from all over the world. There's mounting mountains of evidence. I mean, it's insane that people aren't doing any research on the let's see if it was my son, of their own, proving that curvature does exist. So that's all I can say. At this point in time, I got 4 words for everybody: no curve, no ball. No curve, question mark, no ball, exclamation point. I mean, it's that simple. Stay with that. Stay with the simple stuff. That is fairly simple. How can a plane taking off from LA, flying nonstop to Frankfurt, Germany, videotape the sun the entire time, and there is a sunrise, a sunset, and another sunrise as the sun circles around it? And like I said before, video, high speed, in fact, ultra high speed, time-lapse video tells the story also on the sunset and sunrises, because the sun does indeed start out as a little pinpoint on the horizon, and it gets bigger. It looks like it's going to bowl you over, and at the sunset it sinks. It doesn't really sink. It travels and gets smaller and smaller and smaller and curves away to the right, at least in the northern hemisphere. So stay with the things that are simple. Look at the things that are simple and provable. You can do a lot with a telephoto camera, and like I said before, you could take your phone, set the filter, the highest filter, and take pictures of the sun as it's rising and as it's setting, and then you can measure the diameter of the sun. You can tell it's getting bigger and smaller. So just want to say some of those things. It's complicated, yeah. There's a lot of areas, but stay with ask the question, what do we know? Well, we know we've been lied to. We know that a lot of things don't line up. The core, the crux, the key, the whole issue is, what does the universe, the world actually look like? And if indeed we've been sold a bill of goods, there's a good reason for it. And this is a $1 trillion question, $64 trillion question. I mean, this is huge. It's massive. It's important. None of us are going to be able to know. None of us can tell right now how important it is, but I believe that it is extremely critically important to understand this because of the relationship of it to the things that are happening around the world and the playing out of things as time passes, as far as aliens, the great deception, full disclosure that I believe will happen. This is like the key to that whole issue. So I guess that's all I'm going to say right now. I'm trying to keep these short. So look at it, study it. It's not simple. Look at a bunch of the videos out there. I've got 170 playlists. I counted them, 170 playlists. That tells you something. Yeah, a lot of them are repeat and whatnot, and different wording of the same thing. But I'm doing what I can do to make information accessible. I do not have the capability to watch a lot of the videos in full because of the massive amount of gigabyte information out there. I mean, and more people are coming on board every day, more believers. It's just mind-boggling, the speed at which this is picking up. So, alrighty, Jerry Dine with How to Get Out of Babylon. If you're listening to this, you are the remnant. Goodbye. Yahweh bless.